Hey, good afternoon. It's Jeff Knudsen coming to you from Florida. Talking to you about the Red Sea Max 250, the 66-gallon all-enclosed system. Sorry about the hand there. The aquarium is set up, fully functional. I got my corals in, I've got my clowns in. The last addition that you saw, I added 2 new black clowns and a bubble tip anemone. I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened after that and show you a couple other things that I've got going on today. So I'm going to turn the camera off, turn it around, and be right back with you. Alright, here's the tank. You've seen it before. A couple things have changed. As you might remember from the last video, I introduced these black clowns, and I also introduced a green bubble tip anemone right about where the true percola orange and black clowns are now and the CB anemone is now. I had hoped that he was going to set up home right in that rocky area, the little darker area there, because I had the CB over and where that rock was originally. As soon as the lights turned out, he changed his mind, decided to take a hike, moved across the front of the tank, and ended up over on the right hand side here. I tried to block him in with a couple of rocks to keep him from doing what he eventually ended up doing, and which you can see is he's nowhere to be found. Well, he skinned himself around behind the reef where there's only about an inch maybe clearance in some spots, and this morning I found out that he was inside that cave. Now, he has since figured out, I guess, that he can't get his foot dragged through the hole, which is very small in the back of that cave, and has retracted. He made a valiant effort, and he spent last night and this morning trying to get out, but couldn't do it. My hopes are when he does come out that he'll figure out that's where he wants to be and move back into there from this side. But anyway, he's around back, and he'll eventually show his little green face, and we'll go from there. Now, you may also have noticed that there are a couple of drip tubes in there. What does that mean? Oh, let me think. More fish. So, today I went to the fish store, picked up a couple of tang fish. This is a purple tang, which doesn't look the least bit purple in an orange bucket. And this is a sailfin Red Sea tang, or a Red Sea sailfin tang. Both are fairly, not, I don't want to say rare, but not as common as, say, a powder blue or the infamous yellow tangs that you see all over the place. So I wanted something a little different in my tank. Now, you might say to yourself, why 2 buckets? You bought them the same place, right? I did. They came out of 2 separate water sources in the fish store, and if I had dumped them in the same bucket, that probably would have shocked one or both of them. And so I am dripping them separately. One point of interest, a little note, maybe a helpful hint if you're new or thinking about getting into saltwater aquariums. When you buy your fish, find a local fish store that you can get a relationship going with and find out what day they get their deliveries. And then buy your fish the day before or a couple of days before. Why would you want to do that? Well, if you buy a fish the day they get their deliveries, chances are that fish may have been in the tank that day. And if you think about saltwater fish, you know, whether they're tank raised, farm raised, whatever you want to call it, or ocean bred, found in the ocean, they go from the ocean or from the tank. If they're from the ocean, they may be flown across the ocean to a distributor or wholesaler, put in a tank there, bagged up, sent to the local distributor in the bag or in a small tank, either put in a tank there, bagged back up, and put on a truck and picked up by your local fish store owner. There could be 3 or 4 bags, tanks, different water involved, and etc. So A, they could be very stressed out if you buy them the first day and then introduce them to yet another tank, and B, you know, they've been treated with any number of antibiotics, copper, etc. So, you know, just be wary of that. The fish that I bought today, I know are at least a week old because my fish store guy gets his deliveries on Monday and Tuesday, and he, the fairly straight up guy, said that they had both these fish for almost a month. So they should be okay. The other thing is, why don't you just grip them and dump them? No, I will take a fish net and put them in one at a time out of the buckets. The reason for that is fish stores, wholesalers, the distributors, as I said before, a lot of times treat these fish with different things, copper being one of them. And copper is all but deadly to just about everything else in the tank other than fish. It's a great antibiotic, preventative for any kind of fish disease, but you certainly don't want that coppered water in your fish tank water. So that's why you dip them out with a fish net and introduce them to the tank that way once you've dripped them in. Yeah, it's probably a little more stressful than maybe tipping the bucket in there, but certainly more safe for the rest of the stuff that's in the reef and in the tank. So anyway, I'm going to let them drip for probably another hour, and I'll be back at you once they're in the tank. Thanks. Well, a few hours have rolled by since I shut the camera off the last time, and I had hoped to show you both the fish that I put in the tank today. Unfortunately, right now they are both hiding in the reef. However, the Red Sea sailfin tang has just made his way back out from behind the reef, and his cousin, the purple tang, has been hanging out there off and on most of the afternoon. But he has come out and ate his dinner and appears to be perfectly fine in the reef system that we've got here. But unfortunately, he doesn't show his face as often as I'd like him to. But I'm sure once he gets acclimated that he'll be very happy coming out front. But anyway, that's the Red Sea tang. It's a Red Sea sailfin. It's a little, rare is the wrong word, but a little more unique than, say, a yellow or a powder blue. And the purple tang as well is a little less common in most tanks than the blue and the yellow tangs are. I wanted to show you one other thing that has got me extremely excited, and that is the bubble tip. He has made his way almost completely through the reef, and hopefully is putting himself in parking gear and going to sit there and make himself a home on that rock. I am keeping my fingers crossed. Otherwise, we're going to go back to the same dance that we had a couple of days ago when I put him in and he decided to run around the tank. But anyway, his clown friends have not decided to try to test him out yet. I'm hoping that they will. If they don't, they don't. You know, that's the chance you take with tank-raised fish. And over here, their cousins, the true percolate clowns, are more than happy in their friend, the Cebi anemone. So the bubble tip anemone has pushed his way pretty much completely through the rock and is settling in, I hope. And the Red Sea sailfin tang is enjoying the tank. He's actually cleaning things up a little bit. Fed him some vegetable mix tonight, as well as some mysis shrimp, and the rest of the tank fed on some mysis as well. As I mentioned earlier, I did move some coral around. It appears that the red hammer or purple hammer coral is really enjoying this corner of the tank over here. I did just mess with the two little frags up there on the top, so it's really hard to say. They were out a lot more than that earlier. So we'll see what happens. I've moved a few other pieces around here and there, but the main thing I wanted to share with you today is the new fish that I introduced to the tank and the bubble tip anemone that hopefully is going to roost right there. So we'll be back at you and let you know how the bubble tip does. Hopefully get you some shots of the purple tang as well. The brown algae is still, as you can see, blooming it up. The nice thing about having snails in your tank is they come through and at least make things look better and do clean a little bit of the algae off here and there. So tank's in good shape thus far. I did test it today. 0, on the ammonia, and the other nitrates and nitrite tests. pH is at 8.3. The calcium is at about 460, 470, and the salinity right now is at 35 parts per thousand, or 1.026 specific gravity. So we're in pretty good shape all the way around, at least it appears that way. There are some other tests you can run, but for now that's more than enough. And we'll catch you tomorrow on the flip side with a update on the green bubble tip anemone, and hopefully much more. Have a great one. Check back again, check back often.